Welcome back, everybody. Let's jump back into another trade recap on Bitcoin today. Actually, yesterday, we also had a very nice 5.7R win overnight. But however, I want to go over today's Bitcoin updates and trade recap in a little bit more detail. This morning, I updated the VIP Discord, my interactive charts. When you click on these charts, you're able to go and open my exact chart in your own TradingView app or TradingView web. And you can actually mess around with everything and trade right from my chart. So this was basically the plan for today. Are all of our supply and demand point of interest areas that we were watching. Basically, we wanted to see structure coming out of any of these supply and demand. We had one right below the value area that we were in currently in this range. We also had watching this low right here to SFP into this demand zone. And we were also watching this supply zone that coincided with this range high to the range low. And this was also the golden pocket of that range, as well as we also had some previous day levels all having great confluence here, as well as we were also watching for the breach of the value area high into this supply, having structure breakdown from there. And if we ever did get above this daily level, which has been holding us, we've tried to breach it once, couldn't hold it, tried to breach it again, couldn't hold it, and tapped from it a third time here. And again, we always watch the range highs to see if we get a swing failure pattern of the high or low. So that was the basic plan going into today. And I give y'all updates as much as possible in the VIP section, telling you exactly what my mindset is, what I'm looking for, how I feel about price action, and all of that. And we can see here, I'm basically saying ES and Bitcoin are both at our supply zones, watching for short confirmations. I was saying Bitcoin is having trouble holding above the PD open and PDEQ. And let's go back to the chart. So this was what I was watching. We had this 30-minute supply or 30-minute order block with an imbalance. And let's actually put this in replay mode so we can get right to where we were focusing on here. Okay, so we can see our previous day levels a little bit closer now. So we were breaching the point of control of this area, the supply zone or order block with imbalance, and we nailed the golden pocket, as well as hitting the previous day open. And we couldn't even make it to back to the daily open, which is obviously a sign of weakness if we can't get past any of this, right? So we wanted to basically, for continuation longs, we want to see it reclaim the point of control, reclaim the PD open, reclaim the daily open. So we want to see it break and retest these areas, but we were not getting that here. So let's drop down on the 15-minute. You can see again a little bit more structure here. And as we are coming into this again, like I was saying, I went down to the 5-minute and I was seeing us right at the 0.65 of the Fibonacci, and we could not even close a candle above this area. Every time we tried to go above this area, we just kept wicking and wicking and wicking. So we did see that, as well as on this 2-minute time frame, I was also watching this range here play out. So we had the high and low, and then I was like, okay, maybe a tap one, and then we deviate, come back in the range. We have our tap 2, and then we have the tap 3 there. So let's mark that out. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. So I was also kind of eyeballing this as a Model 1 Wycoff distribution. So that got me very interested, as well as the fact that the 5-minute kept wicking and couldn't close a candle close above that level, I was like, okay, maybe we're absorbing here. Maybe we have some absorption or exhaustion at this level. So the next thing I was looking for, of course, is our structure break. And you can either take the, I believe it's the 2 or the 3 minute. We can take this 3 minute. We came back down on the point of control to make that last higher high and the higher low. So we have a break of structure right here. That's where our break is on the 2 and 3 minute time frame. And I also thought to myself in this time, I was like, okay, if we break this market structure, we're also losing the previous day open, and we are also losing this point of control of this range, right? So we had several signs of weakness, all these wicks on the 5 minute. We had the Model 1. We had the, of course, the supply level and the golden pocket, this PD open that couldn't hold. And as soon as that broke structure, I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's break the structure. We get a back test, and we have this 3 minute order block right here. Let's make that one a little brighter so everyone can see it and distinguish it. So we had that order block here, and that's what I was going to use for my entry model. So you can enter some on the break and also enter some on the back test. So I wanted to see a back test of this point of control, that very level that was lost, and I was in at that point in time. So I was basically talking everyone through it. Very low time frame Model 2 distribution at point of control and supply here on BTC. Aggressive longs are trapped. If we have a bearish break of structure, this thing could come down. Market structure demand still holding on both ES and BTC, so be wary. After massive rise in CBD and OI, open interest here on BTC, both are stalling. So we kind of saw a flat line. You can see it here. We saw both of these kind of flatline. And next, I said aggressive longs are running out of momentum here. Potential for a trap if price drops below that 1 minute low. Flat declining CVD equals no follow through. High open interest equals fresh long exposure. So we were seeing people long into the supply, but it wasn't going, it was stalling out. Usually, when things go flat, you abruptly see a spike, and that's exactly what we saw next. And let's go here. This was your, once we started losing this area, and this was your low, your market structure low to break. Remember, this is right where the point of control was. And then you back tested that point of control here. And that was when we started seeing the spike in CVD. And we saw that spike in open interest as well. And we saw open interest rising here with CVD going lower. So we knew at that point that shorts were starting to enter in. Fresh shorts, new money coming into the market. So currently forming a range in the 1 minute time frame in the supply, failed to reclaim PDQ several times. Either break the low or SFP the highs once more. It's contracting here. Get ready for the move. That was the point when I was basically letting everyone know this is the time that you really, really want to pay attention. Almost pulled the trigger here. So we're really on the edge of our seats waiting for that break of structure. So going until we see here, I was like, okay, if we go any higher, we are going to start liquidating all these short stop losses here and following this liquidity wave. So if we get any further above the daily open, I was watching this daily open in golden pocket. If we were able to close above that, I was going to wait for it to break out and retest the daily open for a long. But we finally got our confirmation here. And I started entering in here because on that 5 minute, all we saw was wicks, and I wanted a super tiny stop loss so my risk could be very, very minimal. So I had $100 risk on this trade, and of course I said rejection from the point of control, moving stop loss down, We had that rejection from the point of control right here. I moved my stop loss right above the point of control, telling everybody, hey, go ahead and start taking some profit if you want to. Let's go ahead and move our stop loss. Let's de-risk. Let's be a little bit aggressive on the risk management here. And as we were coming down, you also wanted to pay attention to this. We also had that nice liquidity wave to the downside. So I knew once we got past right here, basically, right past the PDEQ, that we were going to start liquidating longs, because you knew that longs had their stop losses all trailed in this area. So I knew once we got past this PDEQ that it was going to just free fall from there. And it was okay at that point to put the stop loss right above the previous day equilibrium. Because if we were to come back up and regain this, that's going to be extremely bullish. And I want to be out of the trade at that point. So that's exactly what I said here. Stop loss to PDQ, targeting low of range, and then VWAP. And this was the picture I shared in that moment in time. Again, I try to update you as I'm trading as much as I can. Sometimes it's a few second lags because I've got to situate my position, take the picture, post it, and type and all that. But it was there. And next thing you knew, we took that range low there and the VWAP. And I made just a hair over $1,000 on that trade. All the while only risking, what was my initial risk? $102. So this is just a great example of how I risk the most minimal amount possible to make the biggest amount of profits I can. Now, it's not always going to be this way. However, if you just be patient and wait for your confirmations, and to be honest with you, you could have waited for this market structure to break first. However, if you want more aggressive entries, you will at some point have to learn to incorporate order flow software. Now let's go back to the chart. You could have, if you didn't want to use order flow software, in this example, you didn't need it. You didn't have to. You could have always put a limit order here at the point of control, which is that retest zone of this order block. After you broke this structure, you had that bearish boss, and then you could have taken it down to the VWAP, which would have netted you a 5.21R trade. So this is just another example of a lot of the trades that we're taking in the Discord, and I try to walk everyone through it step by step as fast as I possibly can, and hopefully everyone understands. However, if you do not understand some of this, I will be coming out with I'm going to be planning to come out with 3 courses and stages of progression, and they will be coming hopefully in the next couple months. So I'm also going to be adding more content to my YouTube. So please like and subscribe and share that information. Let's get educated and let's start making some big profits together.